Hello, sports card fans. This is R.A. Rowell for ThePit.com. Today we're coming back to you with a market report about the 2001 eTopps encased cards. The eTopps encased cards were put out by Topps in the early 2000s. They went for a while, but they were especially hot back in 2001, especially for football and baseball. And today we'll be talking about the eTopps encased football cards. The Pit just had quite a few of these sell recently. Um, so the eTopps cards were a special type of card that eTopps called eTopps, and you went to a website called eTopps and you could buy these cards. They would be released. They would essentially be IPO'd, and you could buy them for a limited time. So they only made so many of these, and the cool thing about these cards is that they're not raw cards. They're actually put in a plastic case uh, right away as soon as they're produced. So this means that these cards typically remain in mint condition within that case. So, even in a pack, you can get cards that have chips or dings or whatnot, scratches, even out of just, brand new out of a pack, whereas these cards, that doesn't happen. So it was similar to the Pit in that you could buy and sell these cards without ever taking possession of them. And of course, the Pit ended up with a bunch of these early in its history. The Pit began in 2000, so the Pit actually had quite a few of these. So these eTopps cards have uh, actually aged better than I think some people realize. They had a lot of issues several years later, where many of these cards were never actually shipped out, and there was a lot of controversy over that. People didn't want to pay the shipping charges for these cards. They did charge kind of a lot of money for shipping, and that was kind of the end of eTopps. So many people spent money on these and never received them. So the good news is the Pit actually has a lot of these. And so if you do want to get some of these, they do. The Pit does have quite a few of these. So for example, Lamont Jordan. So Lamont Jordan, this is actually his rookie card, 2001. And he was a former Jets player. He also played for the Raiders, Patriots, and Broncos. Had a couple of really good years early in his career. So Lamont Jordan, his rookie card recently sold on the Pit for $4.95, which for Jordan, Jordan obviously didn't really have a very long career, but these cards are rare enough and different and unique enough that they continue to hold some value. They definitely hold some value. You can find his Topps Finest card in BGS 9.5 for $5. So just to give you kind of an idea of the value that these cards still have. So even this card is still worth about $5, and the Pit does still have some of these. So if you're interested in this particular card, the Pit does still have 14 holdings of this card. Perhaps the biggest name from the 2001 eTopps set as far as football was Michael Vick, of course. Michael Vick, this is his rookie card, and it has definitely not held up well over the years. Of course, Vick was an incredibly popular player. He was a very dynamic player. He was one of the fastest running quarterbacks that the game has ever seen. Of course, his issues really stemmed from off the field things with his with the we won't get into that, but the dog fighting and whatnot. And so his issues were more off the field. Had he not had those off the field issues, he did have some injuries, of course, too. But he looked like a future Hall of Famer, and his career definitely took a turn for the worst. Of course, he did make a comeback with the Eagles and played well for a while. But his cards have really not aged well. We actually had a whole bunch of these sold off for around $1 each. These cards typically don't sell much more than $3 to $5 now, but they're still out there. You still collect these. So there is one listed. There are a few listed for $15, but that's kind of a hopeful hopeful price. These cards don't really sell nearly that well anymore. But they're rare enough that the Pit actually does have quite a few of these, but and these are still rare enough that they do still hold some value, and there are still plenty of people that collect Michael Vick, obviously. And he was a great quarterback for sure. On the flip side, one guy that has actually maintained value from this is Drew Bledsoe. So Drew Bledsoe, of course, the former uh, Patriots quarterback. Of course, he was the one that got injured and led to Brady becoming the starter. And of course, we know the rest of that story. But a lot of people have kind of sort of forgotten about Bledsoe over the years, but his cards actually still sell pretty well. In fact, the Pit sold one of these, the last one of these that we had, for $19. So yeah, Drew Bledsoe, still a Patriots legend. Of course, he did play in the Pittsburgh Steelers game in the playoffs when they decided to hold Brady out with an injury. So Bledsoe was a part of that Super Bowl win. So he did get that Super Bowl win finally, even though it was Brady that played in the Super Bowl. So Bledsoe still, his card is still actually very sought after. There's just not really a lot of these out there. The Pit actually currently doesn't even have any of this card anymore. But just to give you an idea, that these 2001 eTopps cards are still actually quite popular, and the Pit does still have quite a few of these. So they're cool cards. So let us know what you think of the eTopps cards. Did you actually like collecting them? Did you hate them? What are your experience with these cards? I still think that they're really cool cards. I especially like the baseball ones. The Pit has quite a few of those as well. But definitely a cool concept in my opinion. Unfortunately, Topps did not really do a great job with it long term. It was very good in the beginning, but as I said, it ran into a lot of logistical issues. So yeah, so yeah, that's 2001 eTopps cards. As you can see, the Pit has actually sold quite a few of these, and you can see that they range anywhere from $3 to $5 to even $7. Some of these. So yeah, yep, that's eTopps, and let us know what you think of these cards. Let us know what your favorite uh, cards from 2000, 2001, the rookie cards that you chased back then. I would love to discuss those with you. So that's today's market report. We'll be coming back to you with many more of these. Happy collecting, everyone.